I don't usually make videos like this, but I thought I'd go over the silly situation that had actual articles being made on it back in July of 2023, and this was all because of a fictional couple, Suleta and Miorin from Mobile Suit Gundam, the Witch from Mercury. I'm making this video since it has online relevance right now because in 2023, the final Blu-ray set came out and the director officially confirmed their relationship. And you might be wondering, why the hell do they need an official confirmation? I mean, doesn't Suleta's sister in the final episode refer to herself as the sister-in-law? Well, there is some history to the situation, and I thought I'd make a whole video explaining it from start to finish. My channel is fairly casual, so if I get any of these facts incorrect, feel free to correct me in the comments. So I will list all my sources in the description of a video and mention all the news sites I'm referencing for this information so that you can easily access it. So this whole thing about questioning whether or not these two were officially together started back in July 2023 when Gundam Ace magazine featured an interview with one of the voice actors from the anime, Kana Ichinose, who voiced Suleta. According to James Whitbrook's article from Gizmodo.com on this topic, Ichinose's statement was, quote, "After 3 years, they seem much closer, and to see them married like that really touched my heart," end quote of what Ichinose stated. James Whitebrook goes on to state, Ichinose's comment reads in part the first explicit confirmation of the characters' marriage outside of the show itself, end quote. Most news articles that talk about the interview source this tweet by user with the handle Sako Koala reacting to the interview. The user tweeted, according to Google Translate, so take this with a grain of salt, quote, "I only read the Gundam Ace manga during my lunch break, but when I looked at the interview again, Ichinose did indeed say, 'The two of us got married. Dangerous.'" End quote. So what's the issue with this? The voice actor confirmed their relationship. Isn't that great? Well, it would have been great if they didn't backpedal. Yes, the company wanted to take back the voice actor's comment on how she was touched to see the couple being closer together and married. James's article goes on to state, however, digital copies of the issue of Gundam Ace had Ichinose's statement edited to remove a mention of marriage, leading to concerns of censorship that eventually saw Sunrise parent company Bandai Namco officially respond yesterday, not to apologize for the removal, however, to apologize that the reference had made it into the print run in the first place. End quote. Bandai's website for the show itself released a statement along with an official statement on Twitter as well. The Bandai website states, according to Google Translation, in this article there was some text that was based on speculation by the Gundam Ace editor, and even though he requested corrections during proofreading, the corrections were not reflected in the relevant parts, and the article was rejected, and the product was not released on July 26. As for the work, we would like to leave it up to each person who views the main story to view and interpret the work and to enjoy the work, so in consultation with the Gundam Ace editorial department, we will create an electronic version that can be edited. The description has been revised as originally requested and is currently being distributed. Now, this translation is questionable because it is Google Translate, especially the phrase "the product was not released" on July 26 when the entire topic is about the print release, which did come out. Because of my questioning of this automated Google translation, I asked my older brother, who has been learning Japanese, to try translating it. I only gave him like a portion of that I really wanted translated, and he texted me this. Basically, it's saying that the aforementioned article, the speculation of the Gundam Ace magazine editor, or editors plural, was left to stand in the article despite a request for adjustment during the proofreading of the article. End quote of my brother's translation that he sent me through text. Thank you, bro, for helping me out with the translation, if you're watching this. There was a request for a change, and they did not make the change, which was what we saw in the print release. We don't know if the change was to delete the phrase entirely, or if the change was meant to change the wording of the statement. Regardless, the online version does not have the statement at all, so we can guess that Bandai did not want the comment to be published. What is important to note is that the voice actor is not mentioned at all in the statement. I think they did so purposefully so as to not involve her in this whole situation. Since this is about what an actor said in an interview, you would think their release statement will clarify what was or wasn't said by the voice actor, but this was all the information they gave us other than apologizing for causing the confusion because of the two different versions that were released. TLDR, the company officially stated that the incorrect version was released in the print version and apologized that the wrong version made it to the fans of the series. So online, everyone was theorizing that this was a case of censorship, while the company itself was stating the situation was a case of an editor or multiple editors deciding to not make the change that had been indicated in the proofreading stage. And so this version, which didn't get the change made, was released to the public. We, as an audience, don't know if this means the editor added in false information, as in the voice actor never said this, or if it simply means the editor didn't edit it out because they agreed with the voice actor's view of Suletta and Miorin being married. I'm leaning more towards the fact the editor probably didn't see an issue in printing what the voice actor stated, despite a previous editor marking it as to be taken out, and thus ended up leaving it in the print version. For me, it doesn't make much sense for there to be confusion on what's stated in an interview. If someone is typing out their answers to interview questions, wouldn't they just publish the truthful statements of a voice actor? And if an interview is done in real life, wouldn't it be recorded and you later, after the interview is finished, copy what the person said word by word? Obviously taking out like any stuttering or etc. that isn't worth putting in the interview. Otherwise, they'd accuse you of spreading misinformation or defamatory statements if it was something serious that you're claiming they said but they didn't actually say in the interview. Anyways, I don't understand how someone could just add words to Ichinose's interview. So I think it's likely implying that the proofreading or editing team just didn't delete a phrase that a person who worked on editing before them flagged to take out. Usually editing involves multiple people through different stages, looking at the writing, and perhaps a person wrote "let it stand," which means a previously marked change is to be ignored. So the editor towards the end of a process let it stand despite it being indicated to be changed, since they likely agreed with Ichinose's comment on the relationship in the show. Also, if actor Kana Ichinose didn't come forward correcting the words, it ends up sounding, at least to the public sphere, that this is a case of censorship. I didn't find any English articles that revealed what Kana stated about this deletion from the article, but let me know in the comments if there have been any notable statements from her on this whole situation. Furthermore, Bandai's sentiment that it's up to interpretation or up to everyone's personal view downplays the intelligence of the people watching the show. Like, you're telling me that these two aren't in love with each other when they do all of this? And Suletta's sister states this line, as everyone always jokes online about any sapphic relationship, historians will say they were very good friends. And at this point, Bandai might as well have given that statement instead of whatever the hell apology they released to amend the situation. I will say the TikToks that were created from the situation were hilarious. This one by the TikToker Holy Yuri Mother had me laughing really hard.
You know, Miorin and Suletta's relationship is open for interpretation. You mean that relationship where they get engaged in the first episode? Well now, from that anime you made where they promised to stay by each other's side and get each other wedding rings?
So why does news from July 2023 matter right now? Like, sure, it's embarrassing that Bandai made this statement when the two characters are so clearly romantically involved in the show, but why is this relevant right now? Well, guess what? For once, there is good news, folks. The final Blu-ray for the show that has an end of season 2, which according to GundamKidsCollection.com website was released on December 22nd, 2023, had the commentary of one of the directors, Hiroshi Kobayashi, on the Blu-ray DVD booklet. And guess what this director had to say when the topic of the epilogue came up? James Whitbrook's article from Gizmodo.com offers a translation of Kobayashi's statement. Kobayashi stated, according to the Gizmodo article, "I knew I was going to make an epilogue, but it was a while before I decided upon the exact number of years that should pass in between," Kobayashi says. The ending itself follows The Tempest and depicts Suletta and Miorin getting married and becoming partners. End quote. The Tempest is a Shakespearean comedy play, though it's also marked as a tragicomedy on Wikipedia. And towards the end of a play, two characters get married, which Kobayashi wanted to follow for The Witch of the Mercury, since the show was inspired by the Shakespearean play. What is quite funny about the situation is that the director wasn't even directly asked about if a relationship was official, and answered another question casually about what they planned for the epilogue, and decided to mention the fact Suletta and Miorin were reflecting the play they took inspiration from while making this show. It's a pretty nonchalant way of letting everyone know that these two are married and together, so I do think their marriage is 100% what was intended, and that Bandai back during the summer of 2023 just wasn't ready to release that information, nor did they want to acknowledge it at the time. During my research, I found out that according to IMDb, there are many directors. Like, I expected one or two, but I honestly was surprised by how many there were listed on IMDb. A lot of people were involved involved in directing the show. Now, Wikipedia states both Hiroshi Kobayashi and Ryo Ando directed the series. I don't know if that means these two were the main two directors and these other names were only brought on for specific episodes, or if this was truly a show with a collaborative directing situation where all of these people contributed. So this Blu-ray booklet has only one of the directors. I want to stress it's only one of them confirming the relationship on the Blu-ray DVD booklet. I think I can agree with most of the fandom that even without some official confirmation, we would have still thought these two were happily married. But the confirmation does indicate that the people involved in creating the art form, the directors, the writers, the artists, they knew what they were creating, and regardless of how a company might try to backpedal and state it's up to interpretation, those who were directly involved can easily confirm otherwise. Sure, Bandai may own Gundam, but take this little nugget of information with you after you watch this video. During the Gundam channel's Happy New Year live stream, the original creator of Gundam, Yoshiyuki Tomino, complimented Witch from Mercury. According to a translation by this Facebook user, Tomino stated, "I think you can see from the Witch from Mercury that what we are doing with Mobile Suit Gundam is not simply a war story. I think we can do something more spectacular and enjoyable as entertainment." Yoshiyuki Tomino, in the past interview for the Tokyo International Film Festival, asked the person interviewing him, "Did you know that most of the early fans of Mobile Suit Gundam, the very first in the series, were girls?" In this interview, he highlights women and girls as being very important for Mobile Suit Gundam's early fan base, and at seeing all these women being so interested in Gundam had him think, quote, "This might be Gundam's chance to be known worldwide." Gundam has grown to show stories such as Suleta and Mirohin's, centered upon two girls trying to do their best in the circumstances they're given, and growing as individuals throughout the show. And you know what? It just so happens they fall in love. They're queer, and we're seeing their story. Gundam is more than simply a story about war anymore, as Tomino, the creator of Gundam, has stated. It's a new story for Gundam, and I can only hope that the future stories they will tell can also follow in their footsteps for tackling stories which aren't commonly told and feel as more relatable to modern audiences. Well, that wraps up this whole story. If you want more details, check out the articles I'll link in the description below. But this is the general summary of what went down on the official status for Suleta and Mirohin's relationship. So yeah, they're married and in love. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. That really helps the channel out, and I'll hear from you all in my next one. Bye!